Coming up on today's Alabama Football Report, we've got some discussion on if the Crimson Tide really do have the best defense in the entire SEC, and you might be able to argue all of college football as a result. Plus, is the offensive line improving and getting better as Alabama and Nick Saban enter the teeth of the SEC schedule? Before we get to that, if you love Alabama football and want us to continue to do more videos for you guys, then share today's video right now. Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it these days, Facebook, text it, whatever. Hit that share button right now. Who says Bama has the best defense? Beyond Producer Chris? Well, PFF does as well. Now, Producer Chris also says Bama has the best everything. You're not that big of a homer, I'm just playing. PFF does rank Alabama as the #1 defense in the SEC almost across the board. Now, Georgia's second in terms of most things, and I think if you were to ask most people, hey, where do you rank Georgia? People might put them second, and they're the comparison. It's Kirby Smart, right? They're the reigning 2-time national champions. Here's where Alabama ranks compared to Georgia in those PFF defensive grades. They're first overall, 93.1 grade, which, by the way, is absolutely just hysterical. That is, or 93.2. That is first, by the way, in all of college football, also first in the SEC. Georgia's 90.1. That's tied for 18th overall, fourth in the SEC. Bama has the #1 ranked run defense. They're #1 in tackling, i.e. not missing tackles. They're fourth in pressure, which we'll come back to here in a little bit, and first in coverage grade as well. Tennessee, Auburn, the only teams between Alabama and Georgia in the defensive grade. Tackling is second for Georgia. It's the one thing that they're doing better right now, or one of the things they're doing almost as good, I should say, as Alabama, a 0.2 different grade there, not very large. There's some correlation and causation between the overall grades in the 5 games for Alabama and the pass rush grade, right? Which makes sense. There's only so many things you're going to grade for: pass rush, run defense, tackling, coverage. So it does make, there's a very direct and obvious one, right? South Florida, the overall grade, the pass rush grade. Straight up, straight up. Mississippi State, a little bit lower in the overall grade, a little bit lower in the pass rush grade. Same with Middle Tennessee State. Not quite the same level of difference, but notable. Ole Miss, not as high in the pass rush grade. Texas, you didn't do anything pass rush-wise. Now, some coverage grade, certainly getting blamed for that, but Texas overall, they didn't have a good defensive showing. I think it's fine to say Kevin Steele has done a great job, or whoever is calling the plays, if we want to poke some more fun at Lane Kiffin there. I think he's done a really good job. He's done 2 notable things here, I think, in terms of coaching changes. He's been blitzing more since Texas, bringing some more pressure, and he's not dropping Dallas Turner as much into coverage. I think you let your best pass rusher, that is Dallas Turner, that will be a first-round pick this upcoming year, assuming he goes pro, let your best pass rusher go get the quarterback. And as we'll get into here more in depth, the secondary has been awesome so far for the Crimson Tide. You've seen some players take some step forward. We knew Kool-Aid McKinstry was going to be great. Terrion Arnold has taken a step forward. Caleb Downs has hit the ground running quickly as an impact true freshman. And Malachi Moore, in kind of that star, nickel, overhang, Brian Branch, Minka role, has been great. Now, the completion says 73.9. Yeah, it's 17 of 23 for 5.3 yards per catch. That's really good. In general, you will see those nickel corners allow a higher rate of completion because it's shorter throws and fewer yards. That's fine. An INT, 2 pass breakups, 0 touchdowns allowed. Malachi Moore taking a step forward this season. So do you agree with PFF? I do right now. Does Alabama have the single best defense in the entire SEC? It is going to be today's pinned comment, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, type in Y for yes, N for no. Let's move to the offensive line now. And entering the year, we said you got to have a good offensive line play, good ground game, great defense to win games this year. Don't really have the same quarterback play. I think the defensive box has been checked off. Sometimes the offensive line box has been checked off. And again, some correlation causation here, right? Middle Tennessee State, you blocked the game really well. You blew them out. That was easy. You ran all over Mississippi State. Had some success against Ole Miss. You did have some success against Texas too, but you kind of were playing behind the chains. And this is not an Alabama offense that's going to be built to overcome big leads. Do you fall behind 14 points? That's going to be really tough for Alabama to claw back into. They don't have the horses to compete aerially the way they used to. And they eventually got it going against South Florida. I feel like that game they were testing Tyler Buchner and Ty Simpson with the passing game, and it didn't go very well, and eventually they ran it out late in that fourth quarter. More on the O-line, Caden Proctor among them to come. But first, you can bet on all Alabama football games by going to chatsports.com/TideBet and using promo code TIDE125. $100 down, they'll give you a 125% deposit bonus. I do want to make note of this. Alabama is only a 2.5-point favorite against A&M. I don't think A&M is that good. Maybe I'm being limited. It's a road game, and the cult of the Aggies will be loud, and as they always are, playing Alabama. And Jimbo Fisher's had success. That line seems small to me. And when I see a surprising line, I'd normally like to go the other way. Last week, we said bet on Bama against the Mississippi schools. Crimson Tide did take home the state championship. I don't love betting on them against A&M. Maybe money line only, avoid the spread. But if you want to bet on them, go for it. Chatsports.com/TideBet, promo code TIDE125. Do want to spend some time here, briefly at least, on the Alabama left tackle spot. Caden Proctor, I think, has been getting better. His numbers through less than 300 snaps, not that great. It's 4 sacks allowed, a hit, a hurry. The sack to pressures allowed ratio is normally a decent indication. Your quarterback's got to do a better job, but he's also gotten beat quickly sometimes. All these numbers, again, per PFF. So I think he's trending in the right direction. We briefly saw the past 2 weeks some of Elijah Pritchett. I think they're going to ride with Caden Proctor. Hopefully the upward growth continues, and come November, we're feeling great about him at left tackle. Now, when it comes to the ground game, I do think more of those 12 personnel sets. That's one running back, the one. The two refers to the number of tight ends. So 2 tight ends out there along with your 2 receivers and your 2 backs. Alabama's tight ends can block, so use them. This is also kind of what I thought we'd get at the beginning of the year, of Tommy Rees utilizing tight ends, running the football, getting Jalen Milroe involved on the ground. I thought we'd see more of that immediately. Eventually, Bama seems to be trending in that direction. Now, in general, sacks are often a quarterback stat. If you can be a playmaker in the pocket, avoid sacks, your numbers are going to stay low. Alabama has already allowed double the amount of sacks that they did last year. Now, bad snaps are not helping that. Milroe's taken some bad sacks. Simpson took quite a few as well, but he's not the best at that yet. But Seth McLaughlin, your center, really has to be better. He has not been good enough from that category. 45.7 pass block rate. And the snaps continue to be a problem for Alabama. It has been not nearly good enough for him. Just snap the football. So we will frame it as helping Seth McLaughlin's confidence by spamming snap. These are still kids, after all, to a certain extent. I'm not, in other shows you might say we're going to bully them into doing it right. We're not going to say that here. We're not saying that. We're going to build his confidence up. Spam snap to get the center to not have bad snaps moving forward. Let's talk about some Alabama Players of the Week. This from the university, by the way. J.C. Latham remains like a really good, steady offensive lineman. Jace McClellan had a great game. Amari Nyblack, producer Chris gets a W for that one, for doing really well. Caleb Downs, the safety, we'll go more in depth on him in a little bit here too, by the way. Justin Eboijbe has been a nice piece up front. Trezman Marshall stepped up with some linebacker issues. Kendrick Law on kick returns, and Will Reichard, who I think I mispronounced his name last time, so my apologies, delivered several kicks, especially in that second half. And if you want more Alabama football videos, then sub for free. That's all you have to do. Click the sub button. Put the notifications to all. Never miss a video moving forward. More on Caleb Downs. He was named the co-SEC Freshman of the Week. He had 8 tackles, 1 interception, and a 1 pass breakup as well for the Crimson Tide. I really thought it was going to be Justice Haynes as the impact true freshman. Caden Proctor's been fine. I think he's getting better right now. But Caleb Downs I think has been the best true freshman on this Bama team, which maybe isn't a huge shock given where he was ranked coming out. If you love what you've seen so far from Caleb Downs, then show it in the comments section by spamming your twos right now.